It'll grow as fast as the business owners and the individuals that are decision makers in businesses in the state of West Virginia allow it to. This isn't something where the average person makes the commitment. This is something businesses, municipalities, and utility companies need to make the commitment first, allowing groups like IGS and Chesapeake to come in and open up infrastructure and stations. They're not going to do that for the average Joe. They're going to do it for the businesses that need to anchor these stations. That will spark the infrastructure, which will then allow you and I to utilize the filling stations. That they can't tell the difference between natural gas and gasoline. Back in I'd say the late 70s, early 80s, when they tried natural gas, one of the major first times around, the cost of fuel of gasoline versus the cost of actual natural gas at the 1,000 cubic feet level didn't warrant the market to stay that way. But after a while, we've been able to actually see the technology under the hood grow as the price difference shifts. So now, back in the late 70s, early 80s, you'd go from a Lamborghini type performance to like a go-kart, and you could tell the difference of natural gas versus gasoline. Now, you can't tell the difference when you're switching back and forth. Most, if not all, calibrated certified kits have a spot-on performance. The cost of the fuel, first and foremost, I mean, you can get fuel depending on what type of equipment you use to fill your vehicle for as inexpensive as 60 cents a gallon. You can utilize public infrastructure and not have to buy any equipment for less than $2 a gallon, depending on the price in the area that the station is located. So we're able to actually get a cheaper, cleaner fuel without having to send our dollars outside of our country. I'd like to touch a little bit on the vehicle costs. It's not so much the under the hood vehicle cost, it's the fuel tank on the vehicle, which is the same issue we're running into with the stations. It's not so much the compressors that are the most expensive components, it's the actual vessels that store the fuel at the stations. So 3M has done their part to reduce the cost of the vehicle storage vessels, and other groups are starting to step up to reduce the cost of above ground station storage. That's the most expensive component for the large-scale public stations. The NGV vehicles obviously carry the natural gas, which natural gas is lighter than air, and natural gas has a smaller flash point than gasoline. And also natural gas would rise. Our brother is an emergency responder down in Virginia, and during some of his trainings, they've actually promoted natural gas being safer because at accidents and other things, you don't actually have puddles of the fuel collecting. NGVs are definitely much safer. In fact, if it was the other way around and we all were used to natural gas vehicles, and I came around saying, hey, I have this small tin metal box that we're going to carry this fluid called gasoline, and we're going to stick it under your car, and it's really cheap, people would look at me like I'm crazy, but yet it's just what we're comfortable with, and most people are creatures of habit, so it's a matter of breaking the habit. The certified equipment for the under the hood bi-fuel gasoline trucks is finally spot on compared to what it used to be. Back in 91 through 94, they tried getting the technology close, but it did not handle the long-term use that businesses would put on it, the wear and tear and the abuse. I believe now with certain truck applications, they've perfected the technology with the proper price point, the proper wear and tear, and also the proper calibration to make sure that we have a performance that the customer would be satisfied with. It's actually happening faster than anyone can truly realize. If you start looking, there's a lot of individuals that already have vehicles converted, and they actually have home filling units. I would say within 3 to 4 years, the market will allow for a used car surge of NGV vehicles. But until then, us being an upfitter, we have to do our part. We partnered with three locations. If we were actually able to do 30,000 conversions per month per location, we still wouldn't be able to do enough to make a difference in what we really need to do for the conversions. We've worked with groups like Enterprise, believe it or not, that are going to businesses and leasing them brand new NGV biofuel vehicles. So 3 to 5 years, you will definitely see more of a presence. But right now, the businesses are stepping up to do their own fueling infrastructure. If we do our part on getting as many natural gas vehicles on the road as we can, we're actually going to lower the cost of gasoline because we are going to shift the usage. So all of a sudden now, remember back when everyone tried to do those boycotts where, hey, we're going to boycott gasoline for the day. I'm always the guy that forgot and would fill his truck up that day. Well, it's the similar philosophy. We're going to be able to go, if you look at Pennsylvania, West Virginia, and Ohio, that tri-state area, there's more diesel used in this area of the country than anywhere in the world. So if we can start affecting the larger diesel fleets, we can make a difference, and it'll have a trickle-down effect that we can't quantify or measure.